You're listening to Leisure World Direct. I'm your host, GRF Communications Manager Emma DiMaggio, and I'm joined by Communications Director Ruth Osborne. Hello.
Hi, Emma. Nice to be here.
Hi. This is a totally impartial podcast because Ruth is my superior. So I might be setting her up for some of these questions. Can you give me a quick overview of the communications department and what sorts of responsibilities fall under your purview?
Absolutely. A small but mighty staff of 9 put out the Leisure World Weekly each week, which is the bread and butter of the department, although we do cover lots of other areas, including Leisure World Live email alerts, social media, which Emma handles very ably, graphic design. We have a sales team that handles advertising and amphitheater sponsorships, among other tasks. And we're also responsible for the special publications that come out, like Community Guide, Spotlight Magazine, The Map.
Getting back to the bread and butter, can you tell me a little bit more about the Leisure World Weekly? I think that's what people will be most familiar with.
Absolutely, and that's one of the hallmarks of our department. It's been in print since 1962 without fail, hasn't missed a delivery. The paper is owned by the GRF to educate, inform, and connect Leisure World residents and hopefully entertain, because there's so many clubs that are represented and their faces and their places and just things of interest to Leisure Worlders. As I said before, we have a team of 9 that produces the paper each week, and that entails managing hundreds of Leisure World contributors and advertisers, editors design pages, and production processes the paper and sends it to the printer, which is located in Ontario.
Okay. Can you tell me how the Leisure World Weekly is different from a standard paper that you would find outside the walls?
Sure. We are professionally staffed and run, so that part is like a mainstream paper. But we are owned by the GRF, and we have the express purpose of just really informing people about community issues, events, and amenities, and other just topics of interest in the community. So we're not really a mainstream media outlet as you would think of it like a paper on the outside. We have a much more narrow construct.
Can you share some misconceptions that people might have about the Leisure World Weekly?
Sure. The GRF affiliation is one thing most people don't understand, and that is, because we are owned by the Golden Rain Foundation, we are really focused on the events and information and projects that are unfolding from there, and helping people understand the difference between GRF and mutual governance, which is they are distinctly different. Sometimes residents will question why we don't cover stories or run letters that are adverse to GRF, and that's it's because we are owned, and our mandate really is to make sure people understand what the workings in Leisure World are. And we really want to stem misinformation rather than give everyone a voice, which is more like what you'd see in an outside paper. Because we have a more narrow parameter, all the content is highly curated and customized just for Leisure World residents. So our real goal is to make sure Leisure World residents are understanding how the government's running, how the budgets operate, how the committees run, how to get in touch with people, how to make them, just make get their questions answered.
I want to backpedal a little bit to clarify that criticism of GRF is occasionally printed in the newspaper, in letters. The main thing that you as an editor prevent is misinformation.
That's
so if
correct.
Someone says, I don't like how the gate works, or I think the gym should have more equipment, that's all fair game, right?
Exactly. Yes, that will go in. Opinions, whether they're complaining or complimenting, they will go in.
Can you take me through how the paper is created, a little more of the nuts and bolts?
Sure. So each week we receive scores of contributions from Leisure World residents and GRF, and staff also writes their own stories covering, like this month we covered events, holiday events, and so forth. And photographs are taken and submitted. We have staff photographers, and also people turn in photographs. And so editors then begin to process the copy. Meanwhile, the sales team is finalizing each week's ads and inserts and pro directory ads. And once everything's processed, and the deadline for submission, editorial submission, is Thursday at 4. So after that, then editors are processing copy and begin to design pages, which are then transferred to the production team, our production team, which then sends the paper to the printer in Ontario, which the printer then prints 7,500 copies of the paper. It's delivered on Wednesdays, and a team of Leisure World carriers deliver it to every single doorstep.
I'd like to clarify the point right there. That kind of goes into one of the misconceptions or confusing parts about the paper for some people, is that the date says Thursday because it's Thursday's paper, and they have until, I think, very early Thursday morning to deliver it. But we're receiving it early, and people are delivering it early. So
Right. So by contract, the paper must be delivered no later than 10 a.m. on Thursday. So the paper does have an official Thursday date. But because the printer can get it here early on Wednesday, and most carriers prefer to deliver it earlier, they have that. They can do that. So that's probably why most people receive their papers on Wednesday rather than Thursday.
one thing people will see in the newspaper, other than articles, as you mentioned, is ads. I've heard comments from people coming to the office asking why there are ads in the paper, or maybe why we prioritize color space for advertisements over individual contributors' photos. Can you sort of explain that?
Sure. Our sales team is responsible for selling the display and professional ads you see in the paper each week, and the advertiser has the option of buying color. It's an upcharge. It's more expensive. So wherever the advertising color ends up in the paper, the editorial content on that page will also be able to have color. However, it's kind of randomly placed. So the sections are not, it's a big jigsaw puzzle that we put together every week, and we have 6 or 7 or 8 sections. And so they have to be laid out in the paper. And so we never know from week to week which section's exactly going to get color, which is why sometimes people will request that their photos go in color, and they end up in black and white because really editors have no say over exactly where the color's going to land from week to week.
For anyone who's interested in sales or classified to advertise their business or services, where can they reach out?
Well, for information on display ads and inserts, you'll see those occasionally in the paper. People should call Jennifer Lemon. She's our sales manager at 562-472-1274, and she'll fill you in on all the parameters necessary to submit a display ad. And the deadline for classified ads, which any Leisure Worlder can place, is Monday at noon. And for more information, people can reach out to Debbie Kim at 562-431-6586, extension 2383.
And if anyone has a hard time finding us, we're right off the amphitheater. We have a big sign that says Leisure World Weekly on the front. Sometimes people wander around for a bit. They're not quite sure where we are, but we're right next to the left side of the amphitheater. Let's go through some frequently asked questions that I have received. One that I've gotten surprisingly a couple times is, where's the printing press? Where do you keep it in the office? How do you print so many papers? Can you answer that?
Yes, and the answer is we don't have a printing press in the office. It's printing press is a very large operation, as I saw when I toured the place where our paper is printed. It's at Reed Printing in Ontario, and so it's in Ontario, and they deliver it every Wednesday.
Another question we get is, how do I read old articles from the paper? Or can you help me find that article that mentions this about this club that happened sometime in the last 6 months?
You're welcome to call and ask an editor to help you at 4300534, area 562. Or more expeditiously, you could go to leisureworldweekly.com, and we do have an archive section there that goes back 5 years, I think.
It's quite far, yes.
Yes, and they have a search engine that really will help. You just have to type in a keyword, and the articles will pop up. It's pretty easy to find it.
Yeah. We also, if it's been within the last 8 weeks, if you come into the office, we keep those 8 weeks on file, and we can help you find the article in person if you prefer that, if you prefer not to use the website or find it too complicated. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about the newspaper, about the communications department that you think people should know?
Just that we really enjoy putting it out every week, and we encourage you. Our watchword is inclusivity, so we encourage you that if you have anything you'd like to put in the newspaper, to bring it in, and we'll find a spot for it.
This has been Leisure World Direct.